Boyfriend won't stop telling me I have bad body odor. I have been with my boyfriend for over a year and everything has been great except for one thing. Every single day, at least once, he will tell me that I stink and smell of body odor. When we met I showered every day, applied regular deodorant in the morning, brushed my teeth 3 times a day. Now I am so paranoid about smelling bad that I shower at least twice a day. I apply new industrial strength deodorant every few hours. I have a reminder on my phone, perfume, and I brush my teeth anytime I eat or drink something that isn't water. I feel like I'm going crazy. I didn't think I smelled bad in the beginning and I don't think I smell bad now, but I obviously smell bad to him, right? I'm that weirdo that keeps sneakily smelling their own armpits. I have been to the doctor and he has said there is nothing medically wrong. It has honestly gotten to the point where I literally shove my armpit in friends and family's faces asking if I smell bad. They all say I don't smell like body odor at all. One friend even said I smelled too clean like a Lush store. I am getting so paranoid. He won't cuddle or anything when he says I smell. Update, I waited for him to make a comment this morning so I could talk to him. It was less than an hour after waking up that he said, "God, you stink." I had already showered and put on deodorant. I snapped and asked what exactly was he smelling because, at this point I'm one of the cleanest people on the planet and if I still smell bad to him then we should just break up. He got all panicked and upset. I eventually got out of him that this is what his father always said to his mother. Apparently his father told him that this was a surefire technique to have a woman never leave you because she will feel too low to cheat, will love only you, and will always be clean. Needless to say, his father is wrong. He's packing his things and moving out of my house today. What incident made you aware that you were dating a psycho? In order to walk from the bedroom to the kitchen, I had to walk through the living room. This involved me walking in front of the TV. I had to walk in front of it to get to the kitchen. I always did it super quickly, but I always got screamed at. Sometimes I would have to wait 20 to 30 minutes before I was allowed to walk past. One day, while my husband, now ex-husband, was out, I decided to rotate the entire living room. I put the TV on a different wall and moved the couch so it faced the TV. Basically, the living room was exactly the same, just rotated 90 degrees. The living room was a square, so it functionally made no difference. Except now, when I walked from the bedroom to the kitchen, I didn't have to walk between the couch and the TV. When my husband got home, he saw the living room and said nothing about it. We ate dinner, and he watched TV as usual. Then we went to bed. The next morning he refused to get out of bed or talk to me. He refused to leave the house, go to class, go watch TV, or anything. He would not say one word. I kept trying to get him to tell me what was wrong, and he wouldn't. For 3 solid days, he only got out of bed to grab food or use the restroom. He would not talk to me, would not make eye contact, or acknowledge my presence. I was panicking, thinking he was having some sort of episode. It might seem obvious now, but I had no clue what I had done wrong. At the end of 3 days, he said he felt like I had adequately been punished for rearranging the living room without asking. He even told me to keep it that way. It made more sense, and he liked it better like that. He still had to punish me for what I did, though. I got revenge on my bully. In school I was relentlessly bullied. 2 girls in particular had it out for me. I was shy, loved to read, didn't do the popular stuff, so I was the perfect victim. They'd literally torture me by holding me down in the staircase when we were alone and sticking pinboard pins into my arms, legs and feet. When I tried to tell teachers, they said I fell onto them as they were lying on the floor or I did it myself. It didn't help that one of them was the daughter of one of the teachers at the school. Well, I finally got my revenge. I went to try out a new ice cream shop and lo and behold, one of the girls was serving the ice cream. I have multiple allergies including milk and gluten, of which the ice cream shop claimed to be cautious. So I ordered gluten and dairy-free ice cream and set my phone camera up to film the area where the ice cream was prepared because I saw that the girl had recognized me and was certain she'd try something. And she did. I caught her on camera putting a spoonful of milk in the bottom of the bowl and crumbling the gluten-consisting wafers over everything, then camouflaging it with the last scoop of ice cream. She put it down in front of me and said, "I hope you enjoy it." I sweetly smiled at her and asked if she could get the owner of the shop because I wanted to thank her for being so welcoming to guests with allergies. You can guess what happened next. I showed the owner the video and told her that I'd like to press charges, because in my country it is considered a criminal offense called inflicting bodily harm to serve someone an allergen when you know the person is allergic. The bully will never work anywhere where she'll come in contact with food again and she'll have this on her criminal record for years. My ex cheated, so I refunded a gift and now she's livid. My ex broke up with me just about a year into dating. In hindsight, she was awful but I was blind to it all. She broke up with me over the phone, which seemed a little informal from all the time we spent together. Fast forward a week after that, several individuals connected to her, but not each other, confirmed she was in fact seeing another man. I didn't confront her about it, because I realized that things just don't work out sometimes. It was just the way she went about it that irked me. I'm old enough, late 30s, to accept that people are just a shoals, but I also felt like she was getting away with something without feeling even a bit of remorse. The breakup was the only contact. No calls or texts occurred after that over a year ago. I remembered for Christmas that I bought us, a really expensive couples massage spa package because she would always say how she wanted to do something like that. I had purchased some big package from a local place that cost roughly $600. I obviously didn't have the certificate with me. I decided to go to the spa and make up a story of how I lost the certificate. I showed them the receipt, always keep those, and showed them my credit card charge. They wound up reissuing me a gift card, and canceling the other. That was over a year ago and frankly I forgot about it. Today I get a call from her, first contact in a year since breaking up, and she's screaming at me over the phone that the gift certificate is no good and the spa place accused her of stealing and what a boss I was for reporting it to be such. I called the guy, he said he told her it was reported stolen. I just politely explained I didn't think she was deserving of it and if she really wanted to, she could just have Mark, dude she was banging, pay for a new one. I then hung up, gonna make an appointment to use that card with my new GF soon. Mission accomplished. Supervisor asks student with cancer to turn on their camera during a virtual meeting, and you won't believe what happens next. 1. I was diagnosed with a rare ovarian cancer at the beginning of this year. I had surgery and some chemo and am mostly recovered now. I still have to go in for frequent testing and occasional monitoring. I am a private person to the extent that I have dated people for years without telling my parents, so you best believe random coworkers and bosses are unaware of my medical history. 2. I attend a university that has an ambassador program. Basically, if you have a high enough GPA you are able to interview for the program, and if you get in they pay for your tuition during the time you are an ambassador. In exchange you work 5 hours a week and work graduation/other events. I am one of these ambassadors. This is my story. Law and Order sound effect. My supervisor for the ambassador program, Ms. M, has spent the majority of our time together belittling me. As I sit here about to type about her, I find myself already exasperated thinking about reliving some of the details, so I will be short and sweet for both your sake and mine. She follows every rule to the letter and leaves no room for collaboration or discussion. As an example, we use Microsoft Teams for communication, and she has us clock in and out in a group of 20 people by saying I'm here and I'm leaving. So every day you have to scroll through dozens of messages to find anything of import and listen to notification sounds every time someone so much as takes a lunch break. I suggested using the time clock function on Teams and even offered to set it up for us, and was told that I was deliberately undermining her position. Another quick example is her vehemence when I told her I didn't have any social media to advertise the college. She was certain I was lying and went so far as to ask the other ambassadors to try and find me. They didn't. There's nothing to find. Crazy concept. I've challenged her at a couple of junctures, but ultimately realized I was fighting a losing battle and I'd be better off keeping my head down. Laughs in dramatic irony. Fast forward to 4 days ago, Friday, there's a mandatory virtual event in 3 days, Monday, where the dean of the college would talk to the ambassadors, as well as live stream the event to the college's website and YouTube page. Ms. M sent out a message that I will copy and paste here, because the formatting is so dramatic that it makes me chuckle. Students must have their cameras on and phones off. Repeat, phones off, cameras on. Like come on lady, bold, caps, or italics. Your email almost gave me a stroke. I follow up the same day. Ms. M, unfortunately I will be at a doctor's appointment at this time and will be unable to turn my camera on during the event. No response. I send another email to follow up. No response. The day of the event rolls around. I direct message her through Microsoft Teams 10 minutes before. I see that she's seen the message with a read receipt. Nothing. Okay. Video chat starts and several students join the session with their cameras on. Then the dean. He gets halfway through introducing himself and Ms. M interrupts him as he takes a brief pause and says, "Excuse me, could we please have all of the students turn their cameras on?" I say nothing but put a quick message I already had typed in anticipation in the group chat. Ms. M, I have a private situation that bars me from turning on my camera. I have contacted you individually. Not but a few seconds after I send it, I get called out by name, and I respond audibly, "Ms. M, I cannot turn on my camera at this time." And she responds, "Expectations were clear and you were told multiple times about this. Every other student here managed to do it and I expect the same out of you." Now, one of the cool things about having cancer is you become very familiar with the hospital staff, and if you're lucky, they're fun to talk to. During COVID my nurses were my tethers to sanity because no one could visit me while I had inpatient infusions. So I told one of my nurses, Amy, about this situation beforehand. She joked that if I was told to turn my camera on, I should really play up my illness. In any other situation I would have been entirely opposed, but sweet revenge was in sight. When I replay it in my head I imagine that anime fist clenching thing when the protagonist resolves to get revenge. I set my laptop back a bit further from myself on my leg so you could see the entirety of me and my hospital regalia. Teams will display the person currently talking as the largest image in chat. Everyone had their audio off except me, the dean, and Ms. M, so when I turned my camera on I was displayed as the EKG loudly thrummed away, on max volume, thanks to Amy. Silence. Me. I asked Ms. M through email and Teams if I could opt out of having my camera on, but she insisted. I waited a beat to see if anyone would say anything and then continued with my special vocal blend of melodramatic gratitude and illness-laden shakiness. Virtual engagement is so important for this new era of learning. I can see why having the camera on is important, though I was hoping I might be granted an exception. Dean, Ms. R, you are more than welcome to turn your camera off. I am so sorry for the misunderstanding. Me, thank you so much for making a special exception for me. It's been a difficult week but I feel grateful to be here. Then, 2 people leave the call. One was Ms. M and the other was Anthony, who is Ms. M's boss. I didn't know he'd be there. Haven't heard from either of them yet but I'm awaiting a follow-up with anticipation. I'm typing this from the hospital and feeling gratitude for a lot of things. 'Tis the season, after all. I am here. I am alive, and above all, this stupid disease won't stop me from putting a bully in their goddamned place. Am I the butthole for saving one sister's life and not the other? I only have one kidney, it's not my fault. I have little identical twin half-sisters, who both have serious kidney issues. They have both sadly reached a point where without a kidney transplant, their quality of life will continue to decline and they might not see the other side of 20. Obviously, myself and my mom are devastated with this news. It wasn't expected that they would be in this position so young. For some background, one of my sisters, Sarah, is very much the tomboy like me. We are really close and enjoy a lot of the same things. We are like two peas in a pod. That's not to say I don't love my other sister Jade, but we simply aren't as close. She's a little more girly, doesn't have many shared interests as me and Sarah do, and so we just don't hang out as often. I also don't see Jade as much in general. Sarah doesn't like her dad's wife, and so she spends less time with them, while Jade adores her, so has always spent more time at her dad's place. Both my mom, their dad, and both of the girls were totally happy with this setup. Jade also begged to go to a particular boarding school, so I don't see her nearly as much as Sarah, nor have I for a very long time. Maybe one weekend a month for the last couple years and some more over summer/holidays. I still love her dearly, but I hope it's understandable now that I'm just much closer with Sarah. We were equally close until Jade started doing her own thing and making choices for herself, and I don't in any way begrudge that. I wouldn't say me and Jade don't get along, but there have definitely been some big spats over the years. We all got tested to see if it would be possible to do live donations, and I'm the only match. Unfortunately, I obviously only have 2 kidneys. I can only save one of my sisters. There's every chance they might get a kidney from somewhere else, but right now they aren't a priority and aren't high on the transplant list. I basically told my mom, who told their dad, that I want to donate my kidney to Sarah. I thought about it so much. I know this means I am undeniably saying I love Sarah more than Jade, and I guess I do. Unsurprisingly, all hell broke loose about how could I do this to Jade? How could I be so cruel? Why would I do this? How can I just play with their lives? I've been getting calls and texts from everyone who knows about this. Neither Sarah or Jade have been told. I get it. I'm playing God here. But it's my kidney. Yeah, I feel like scum for choosing one sister over the other. But one is my best friend and the other is, well, not. I feel like a monster for saying it, and I know on a fundamental level it's wrong. Part of me wanted to flip a coin or something, but I couldn't. My whole family seemed to be demonizing me for making this choice. There is now understandably massive divides in the family because of how my mom and the girl's dad outright demanded I give my kidney to Jade, because she was the golden child with a bright future, while Sarah was just, effectively, mediocre. I feel less bad now saying this because she's on the road to recovery, but Jade was a flaming jerk who made Sarah's life hell. I presume Sarah chose to spend most of her time with mom because we were so close, but it was mostly because of how Jade treated her like dirt, and their dad and stepmom thought it was basically Jade's right as the superior being or some bullshit. I ended up not being allowed to donate, but before this, as many suggested, I spoke to my sisters about my decision. Sarah broke down in tears, because it was the first time she ever felt somebody put her first. She told me stories of the things that Jade did with their dad's approval and I was livid. She said if she was my choice, she wouldn't feel guilty knowing it might mean Jade won't get a kidney. I made it clear that I chose her because she is good, and amazing, and I loved her, not because Jade was a horrible person. I then spoke to Jade, and calmly explained that I had to pick, and well, as she knew, we weren't very close and Sarah was a kindred spirit that I was always with. I wasn't surprised that she was mad. I mean, how else would you react? But I didn't expect her to spew such hate, that I'm wasting my kidney, and I'm probably in butthole for it, but I didn't care if she was sick. I effectively said if she hadn't been such a nasty jerk her whole life maybe she wouldn't be dealing with this, and it's a shame that she might have only learned on what may be her deathbed that she won't always be everyone's favorite and she can't treat her own sister like dirt. I've never simultaneously felt so happy and so guilty for getting something off my chest. My man baby brother is finally facing the music. My 31-year-old brother, in his time on earth, has not had to lift a finger to keep any of his needs met. He dropped out of college after less than half a semester because he could not bother rolling out of bed before noon to take the car our parents got him to class. He's worked a combination of 2.5 months in his entire life. He lost his first job at a Dairy Queen because he swore at a mother over the drive-through speakers, and lost his second because he got caught stealing from the till of a family-owned restaurant. He has spent the last 8 years rolling out of bed at 2 p.m. to do nothing but play video games and troll Discord servers to find someone just as pathetic as him to hang out with. It does not help that he's an annoying, violent, self-centered brat who would push my parents in front of a bus for the thrill of the dopamine hit. My parents always tried their best with us. They gave us everything we ever needed in life and then some. They have always been more than understanding to all of their children. For me and my 2 siblings who are worth something, it leads to incredible performances in academia, well-paying jobs, and an amazing start to our adult lives. I wish I could commend them for the 75% success rate, but they have allowed the man baby to sit in his cradle and make demands for 31 years too long. And now, they find themselves with an overgrown toddler who sits in the attic playing Valorant all day while cursing my mom out when she dares to ask him to clean up the rotting garbage he spreads across his room. Last year, Dad had a stroke. He is now at a point where he needs 24-hour care from a professional. My mother is burned out. She retired when Dad had the stroke to take care of him, and it's done more damage to their relationship than 33 years of marriage could ever do. It does not help that they are perpetually harassed by the child demanding his dinner be delivered to him while he screams at teenagers over the internet. Me, all my human siblings, and my parents have been talking for months now about solutions. At the beginning of the month, we decided Dad is going to a care center. Mom will sell the house to move to a 55-plus community close to Dad, and the man baby will hopefully find a box with an internet connection. Mom and Dad have always protected him, but my guess is the stroke finally woke them up to the reality of the situation. Yeah, it sucks, and they are to blame for allowing him to get to this point. But, there comes a time to cut your losses and admit you messed up and move on. It's a shame all of the man baby's siblings, including myself, hate his guts. None of us care what happens to him. And it's interesting to say that out loud now that I think about it. I got the privilege to be there yesterday when he got the news. Mom's going to be moving in with sis till the house sells. Dad's going to the care center next week, and movers will be clearing the place out starting pretty much now. He has a month. The eviction process is already rolling. The non-emergency line already knows that his temperamental and violent behind has been served and is ready to respond if he does something stupid. Oh, and our firefighter neighbor will be over in only a few minutes if he needs his ass put in gear on short notice. It was wonderful. His meltdown was legendary. He actually stomped his feet and screamed that it's not fair. Said he was going to sue us all. Screamed in an elderly man's face saying he wants to kick his ass. He demanded to know what we were going to do to help him find a place to live, how much money we were going to give him to make sure he didn't end up on the streets, and asked what he's supposed to do about the fact he was saving his money to buy a new graphics card. He somehow still does not understand exactly what he is now facing. He's now not talking to Mom or Dad. He's locked himself in his room since last night and only comes out to use the restroom and take food from the pantry that will not be filling itself anymore. It's great as my brother is staying there and working remotely to make sure he does not try anything, and to update me and my sister on the man baby's tantrum. I'm looking forward to next month. It will be the best reality television show I've seen in a while. What is your wildest, but greatest night out experience? I was 16 years old, and friends with a lot of shady people. One night we did our usual, slammed up some Four Loko and did some blow given to us by a random junkie in the street before heading into a club using a fake ID. Within 10 minutes my best friend and I found ourselves chatting to this incredible woman, age 37, recently divorced, brunette. Being intoxicated we told her our real age, yet she did not mind. In her words, fresh meat tastes the best. Then disaster struck. One of my other friends got into a fight after getting into an argument with some old dude over a plate of nachos, each claiming this was the one they ordered. We jumped in and the three of us went Iron Mike on this dude. Bro did not stand a chance. Sadly we were escorted out. My best friend and I bummed that we did not get a chance to tap that fine woman. But we look back to see she has followed us out. She told us that we were the most exciting guys in that club and she would love for us to spend the night with her. All three of us. She told us she lived alone so we went back with a taxi which was a 20-minute ride. You would think the rest is history but no, there was a twist. This woman was a cat lady. Maybe 15 or so cats, just crawling around the place. We enter and she offers us some booze. It does not take long before she throws the TV on and instead of playing a show, she plays Korn. Well, that did not take long. All four of us head into her room, and are greeted by a small bed. Would we have space to each enjoy ourselves? Well, let me tell you, in a situation like this, I could find space in a single bed with Susan Boyle. So one by one, all of my friends and I have a go. One enters and 10 minutes later exits, then I enter and exit, and so on. The problem was she kept two cats in her bedroom the whole time, no matter the circumstance, and those two cats would just walk around us as we were going at it. During my second round I hear someone enter the house. By the voice I could tell it was a dude. The woman calmly states, "This is my husband." I lied about the divorce. Don't worry, however, he is into this type of stuff. The husband walks upstairs and smiles, a big goofy smile, his breath stinking from meters away. We make eye contact and he urges me on as to continue doing what I'm doing as he proceeds to start undressing. My friends just stand there in shock. We all agree we cannot partake in this as it is too weird. The husband becomes angry and yells at us and we head downstairs and he tries chasing us. However, his large frame prevents him from seeing the steps and he tumbles down. We left the house, each with no cash, and since this was before smartphones we had no way back. Luckily, one of my friends recognized the location, and we walked back. The 2-hour walk was one of shame as well as triumph. On one hand I lost my V card, on the other I participated in whatever that was. When I got home I cooked a frozen pizza, ate it, and had the best sleep of my life. Cheat on me and brag to your friends? Enjoy deportation. I met this girl while I was working in a national park, and she was a housekeeper on a work visa. We instantly hit it off, and within a month, we were in a relationship. We even had a solid long-distance arrangement, where we would visit each other on recreational visas in our respective off-seasons. I'd spend a few months in Romania or meet her at some vacation destination, then she'd spend a few months in the States. This went on for about 2 years, and eventually, the conversation came up with her family about possibly moving her to the States permanently. Romania never really recovered from the Ceausescu regime, and political and economic corruption makes life pretty unpleasant for a lot of people. Her marrying and moving to the US meant that her mom wouldn't have to worry about her daughter having a good life. I arranged for sponsorship, and proposed to her. It seemed like my dreams were coming true. Then, about a month after she's all settled in, I get a message from her best friend back home, What followed was a year's worth of screenshots wherein she bragged about conning me into paying for her residency, while she cheated on me with 8 different men. In her friend's words, "You are a good man, and you don't deserve this." So, over the following 2 weeks, I reported her to ICE and Homeland Security for a conversation her brother and I had over a bottle at one point. He bragged about how he had done time in prison for smuggling weapons to Turkish terrorists, and how she had been his lookout on several occasions. As you might imagine, in the War on Terror days, this was not taken lightly. She was immediately arrested and deported, and put on a permanent no-entry terror watch list. Want to take advantage of me and cheat? Have fun never being able to come back to the States. My brother saw a ghost as a kid. 2 decades later, I realized what he actually saw. I was about 7 years old, my brother about 10. It was well past our bedtime when our mom woke up off the couch to put us to bed. Our dad worked construction out of town back then, so it was often just us 3 at the house for weeks at a time. Up the stairs and to the immediate right was our parents' bedroom. Going left puts you in the middle of a hallway. Taking another left down that hallway led to my brother's room. The opposite end was my room, which was also across the hall from our upstairs bathroom. At either end of the hallway are window doors we always kept locked and rarely used. The door on my end led to a balcony overlooking our front yard, and the door on my brother's end opened to our back porch. My brother and mom both had a habit of waking up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. I only knew this because I was always a light sleeper and they just couldn't help flushing with the door wide open. This night, however, my brother stopped on his way to his room and came back towards the bathroom. "I'm gonna try to pee before I go to bed." The past few nights I've been too afraid to walk to the bathroom. I keep seeing a man wearing stripes at the end of the hallway. I don't know if my mom wrote it off as my brother telling ghost stories to try to scare me or if she was already half asleep and didn't catch it, but she didn't react at all to my brother's confession. I, on the other hand, was terrified by it. The fear of seeing a ghost like that at the end of the hallway or through the windows is the reason I started running from the stairs to my bedroom at night. Years later, when I was about 18, my mom and I were having a conversation in her car about a dog we had for a very short time when I was little. We were sharing stories about Max's tendency towards destroying my shoes and other unruly behaviors when my mom blurted out, "Do you remember that time I opened the front door for the cops and Max ran inside to the kitchen and started tearing open that big bag of dog food we had?" This really caught me by surprise, because in all the years I lived in that house we never once called the cops. I asked her what she was talking about and she looked equally surprised as if she had just revealed something by accident. "Oh, that's right. I never told you because you were too young at the time." One night, I woke up hearing noises outside my window and when I looked I saw a man staring into my bedroom. She went on to describe how turning on the lights caused him to take off running and how she grabbed my dad's pistol before calling the cops. I can't remember all the details I gave them when they showed up. Tall white male, wearing a striped shirt and jeans, short dark hair. Something like that. They said it matched the description of a man they were looking for in the area. It turns out he had escaped from jail on a murder charge. Now, I know it sounds so obvious hearing those 2 stories back to back, but it wasn't until a few years ago, in my mid-20s, that I pieced together that my brother had unknowingly warned us about a stalker murderer who spent multiple nights casing our home.